Have you ever woken up with the feeling that you lived another life during the night? I'm not talking about just any dream, those random, nonsensical ones that vanish from memory before you even brush your teeth. I'm talking about something different, experiences so vivid that you wake up with your heart racing, remembering details you can't even explain, places you've never seen, but that felt familiar, people who seem to know you for years, even though you swear you've never met them. Emotions so real it's hard to believe it was just a dream. The truth is, there's something about these dreams that challenges what we usually accept as reality. Some people report having lived years in a parallel life while sleeping, with coherent memories, deep emotional bonds, and even daily routines. When they wake up, the shock is real, as if they had been torn from one world and thrown back into another. There are hundreds of reports of people who wake up in the dream with full consciousness, live through complex situations, learn, suffer, love. When they wake up, they carry an emotional weight that defies logic. It's as if these dreams are more than just mental creations, as if they're access points to another layer of existence, to a parallel reality where anything is possible, including living a life that, in the eyes of the waking world, never happened. But why does this happen? How can a state we consider unconscious feel more real than everyday life? Science usually explains dreams as memory processing or information organization, and yes, to some extent, that may be true. But it doesn't explain the emotional depth and intense sense of presence many of these dreams bring. If you've ever dreamed like that, you know what I'm talking about. Many times these dreams come with sensations that can't be explained, an intuition that later proves true, an idea that changes your life, or even a feeling of reunion with something you didn't even know you missed. We're beginning to understand that dreams aren't just nighttime fantasies. They can be portals. Portals to worlds where time and space behave differently, where our consciousness seems expanded, free from the restraints of the body and the rigid logic of wakefulness. This isn't a conversation just for the enlightened or initiated. It's a real talk about something we've all felt, that there is much more between sleep and waking than science dares to admit. And it all starts with this simple and unsettling realization. Sometimes dreams feel like parallel lives, and maybe on a deeper level, they really are. Have you noticed how the way we feel completely changes how we see the world? Just wake up in the right mood and suddenly even traffic seems bearable? People less harsh? Life more alive? The opposite is also true. When the mind is heavy, everything looks grayer. Reality then isn't as solid as it seems. It changes according to what we carry inside. Now imagine this on another level, the dream level. In dreams, this relationship between thought, emotion, and reality intensifies. Everything happens with amazing speed. You think of something and it manifests almost instantly. Feel fear, the scene darkens. Feel love, the colors brighten, the atmosphere shifts. It's as if the world inside responds directly to what you're vibrating. And do you know why? Because in that state, the mind and energy are completely intertwined without the filters and blocks that wakefulness imposes. Quantum physics has already made it clear there is no objective reality separate from the observer. The act of observing alters the behavior of particles. In other words, the world responds to our consciousness. What seems so far from our practical life is actually the engine behind everything we experience, awake or asleep. In the dream state, this relationship becomes even more explicit. It's as if we're in a pure creator mode, where there's no delay between what we think and what we experience. The mind creates and energy obeys, the scenery shifts, characters appear, the plot unfolds based on what we're feeling in the moment. Sometimes this creation doesn't come just from the conscious mind. It comes from deeper layers, hidden desires, old fears, memories we didn't even know we carried. Many people see dreams as mere reflections of our mental mess, but that's just part of the story. What happens there is a true co-creation between consciousness and energy. We are the writers, directors, and actors all at once. And even without realizing it, we leave behind traces of our most intimate state. Simple example, someone who goes to sleep frustrated with their professional life might dream of being trapped in a maze with no exit. Another person, feeling creatively expansive, might dream of flying over unknown cities, feeling the wind on their face. In both cases, emotional energy clearly shapes the experience. The difference between the dream world and the physical world may lie only in the density of matter. Creation is still happening, just more slowly, more filtered, more limited by the conditioning we've accumulated over life. But the formula is the same. What we think, feel, and believe becomes reality. First in the inner world, then in the outer world. So when you dream, you're not simply disconnected from reality, you're just operating on another level of it. A level where the mind has more freedom and energy responds without hesitation. A level where you can see more clearly how the invisible engine of creation works. The more you become aware of this, the more you learn to bring that power into your waking life. Because if the mind and energy can build worlds while you sleep, just imagine what they can do while you're awake. There's a moment between falling asleep and diving deep into slumber when something curious happens. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, as if a part of you disconnects from the physical body and begins to float through invisible realms. You're still there, but also not anymore. It's as if consciousness temporarily frees itself from the constraints of the flesh, the weight of everyday life, and the limitations of logic. That feeling isn't imagination, it's an experience, and thousands of people around the world report exactly this: an expanded perception, a lighter presence, a clarity that can't fit in the body. During sleep, especially in its deeper stages or during lucid dreams, our consciousness behaves differently. It's not bound by the five senses, it doesn't have to obey gravity, nor the rigid laws of time. It can fly, talk to people who have passed, or visit places it has never seen, all with an emotional vividness often greater than waking life. This means there's a part of us that goes beyond the body. For centuries, ancient cultures have spoken of this. Shamans called it the soul journey, Hindus the subtle body, and today even science is beginning to investigate phenomena that occur when the brain enters altered states like REM sleep, deep meditation, or near-death experiences. In all these cases, the reports are similar. Consciousness expands, and in that expansion, experiences arise that don't fit within the boundaries of the physical world. It's as if there were a free version of ourselves, an I that doesn't need the body to exist, that remains alive, active, and curious. That I, consciousness in its essence, travels while the body rests. And in dreams, we get glimpses of it, sometimes fragmented, sometimes so complete that they stay with us for the rest of our lives. And here comes an important point. Time in that state doesn't work the way it does here. You can live a week in a dream and wake up 30 minutes later. You can visit the past or experience a future that hasn't happened yet, and that changes everything, because it shows that consciousness isn't a slave to the clock. It is fluid and multidimensional. That also explains why we often wake up transformed after certain dreams, because the experience we had wasn't just internal. It was real on another plane, another frequency, another layer of reality, and our consciousness registered it, learned from it, and was touched by it. This awareness can change your relationship with sleep forever, because now you know it's not just about resting, but about reconnecting with parts of yourself that only reveal themselves when the body sleeps. Allowing your consciousness to go beyond and return with insights, healing, and even answers you couldn't access with the waking mind. Has it ever happened to you to dream of someone you hadn't seen in years, and the next day that person messages you? There's a theory in quantum physics that might sound like science fiction, but it's real. Quantum entanglement. It says that two particles, once connected, remain linked even across great distances. What happens to one affects the other instantly, no matter the space or time between them. It's as if the universe had an invisible web that links everything and everyone. Now think about that outside the lab. What if the same logic applied to us human beings? In dream states, that web grows stronger. Mental filters shut down, the body rests, and consciousness floats more lightly, more sensitively. In this state, many people report telepathic connections, encounters with distant loved ones, visions of events that haven't yet occurred in the physical plane. We're talking about experiences felt deeply, with detail, emotion, and a strange sense of knowing that it matters. Dreaming of someone on the other side of the world and feeling as if they were right beside you. Waking up with an emotion that isn't yours but feels like it came from someone you love. These experiences suggest there's a field of communication beyond words, beyond physical presence. And in dreams, we access it more easily. Sometimes you might feel so connected to someone that you just know what they were feeling, even from a distance. Entanglement explains that once the connection is established, emotional, energetic, spiritual, it remains active even when bodies are far apart. In dreams, these connections become portals. And that's why we sometimes wake up with tears in our eyes without knowing why, or with a tightness in the chest that has no immediate explanation. Because consciousness connected with another consciousness and brought back part of it. This also applies to places. Some dream of unknown cities that feel familiar, as if they had lived there in another life, or places they'll only visit years later, but were already there in dreams. It's as if entanglement also occurs with experiences, memories, and future possibilities, all connected by invisible threads, accessible when the rational mind falls asleep. Physics already acknowledges the existence of the field that connects everything that exists. Many speak only of the energy in the air, but it is also a living, intelligent matrix that interlinks consciousnesses, events, thoughts, and emotions. And when we dream, we are directly connected to it. This field knows no boundaries. It doesn't depend on language, geographic location, or chronological time. Everything you live, feel, think, or desire leaves an imprint on it. Everything any being has ever experienced does too. This is the same field accessed by mystics in deep meditation, by inventors during sudden moments of inspiration, by artists who say they downloaded a finished work. And in dreams, you access it even more directly, because the noise of the conscious mind is asleep. When you enter the dream state, your consciousness tunes into subtler frequencies. And the deeper the dream, the clearer that connection. It is at this moment that visions, encounters, messages, and sensations arise that simply don't come from your small self. They come from something greater, from your direct connection to the field that unites all consciousness. It's important to understand, in this field, everything that exists is interconnected by frequency, not by physical proximity. This means that what you feel is more decisive than where you are. Your emotional vibration connects you directly to experiences, memories, and beings that share that same frequency. And during dreaming, when you're in a natural state of sensitivity and openness, this process happens spontaneously. You don't dream about just anything. You dream about what is vibrating in your consciousness, even unconsciously. And the field responds. It presents what you need to see, learn, feel, heal, because it's not just connected, it's intelligent. It organizes dream experiences according to your inner journey. There is no separation between you and the whole. The universal energy field ensures that. And in dreams, you experience this unity. You step out of the individual I to live something greater. It's in this field that you meet parts of yourself that don't fit into daily life. The laws that govern the universe don't pause while we sleep. They remain active, firm, precise, influencing every detail of the dream experience. And that's exactly why dreams aren't chaos. They have order and structure. They are direct manifestations of universal laws in action, even when you think you're just resting. The law of vibration, for instance, operates even more intensely during sleep. This law states, without room for doubt, everything is energy in motion, nothing is still. And this energy vibrates at different frequencies. If you go to bed carrying anxiety, fear, or frustration, your energy field aligns with experiences that vibrate at that same frequency. The dream doesn't punish you, it shows you. It mirrors what you carry inside. The law of correspondence also acts with precision. As within, so without. As above, so below. In other words, what is inside you is reflected in external experiences, including in dream experiences. The scenarios, characters, and events that appear in your dreams are direct representations of what is alive within you. They don't come from outside, they come from the inner mirror. The universe places before your consciousness so you can see what, when awake, you often ignore. That's why simple rituals before bed make such a difference. What you think in the final minutes of your day is not just a thought, it's an energetic command, a code that guides your consciousness to where it goes while your body rests. You can direct it. You can access deeper, more healing, more elevated experiences simply by changing the state in which you enter sleep. However, dreams are not just reflections of your vibration, they also reinforce that vibration. A misunderstood negative dream can leave you carrying an emotion all day that's no longer even yours, just residue from a frequency you accessed. Now, why do some dreams seem to carry more energy than others? You wake up, but something lingers. The body is awake, the mind trying to keep pace with the morning, but there's a different vibration in the air, a sensation you can't name, but that changes the whole mood of the day. The dream was so strong, so real, that it seems to have left an energetic trace stuck to you. And no matter how much time passes, that kind of dream doesn't fade, it remains. When a dream carries more energy, it's because you accessed a higher frequency, a deeper, more direct level of consciousness, closer to the source. It's not the length of the dream that matters, nor how pretty it looks. What determines its impact is the vibrational alignment that happened there. In other words, when your consciousness tunes into higher planes, planes where truth is clearer, where energy is pure, you feel it, and you feel it deeply. Dreams like these don't ask for interpretation. They are lived with the whole body. You wake up with tears in your eyes or with your heart beating as if you've received a calling, because you have. These are experiences charged with archetypal, symbolic, or even spiritual energy that cross the barrier of the unconscious and directly impact your state of being. And there's a reason this happens. These dreams arise when there is openness, when you are vibrating at a frequency that allows something greater to enter. Sometimes this happens after a moment of deep pain, which breaks down emotional defenses. Other times it happens after periods of meditation, interconnection, or healing. Whatever the origin, the fact is clear. The impact of the dream reveals that you touched a sensitive and true point within your own being. Dreams with a high energetic charge also indicate presence. In many cases, they are encounters with spiritual guides, future versions of yourself, or fragments of memory that surface at the right moment. They are not ordinary dreams. They are real interactions with the field of expanded consciousness, and that's why they move us so deeply. They carry a vibration that doesn't fade upon waking. Many of these dreams are portals for change. We wake up different, as if something had been unlocked. Sometimes it's a new idea, a courageous decision, a forgiveness finally felt. Other times, it's just a deep silence that takes over everything, as if something had finally clicked inside. These are the dreams where the soul makes itself heard. And no, these are not experiences exclusive to spiritual or sensitive people. We all access these frequencies when we are ready and the energy is clean enough, when the heart is receptive. These dreams do not choose based on merit. They manifest through resonance. What vibrates higher impacts deeper. Time is just a perception. In dreams, time is not the same. It doesn't run in a straight line. You can live an entire lifetime in a few minutes. You can visit a future that hasn't happened yet, or return to a past that holds something unresolved. And none of this is illusion, it's perception, because time at the level of consciousness is a state. While we are awake, the clock dictates the pace, but when the mind relaxes and consciousness detaches from the body, we enter another type of reality. That's why during sleep we can access forgotten memories, meet future versions of ourselves, or even receive answers to questions that previously seemed impossible to solve. When we wake up with the feeling of having lived so much more than those hours of sleep should allow, it means that on the level of consciousness, time is not measured in minutes, it is measured in depth. The deeper the connection, the more intense the experience, and the more intense, the richer in emotional content. It's not uncommon to dream of situations that will only happen weeks or months later. That's no coincidence. Your consciousness accessed a point in the field where that information already exists. This is called vibrational anticipation. What resonates with what you're feeling now is already being created at the energy level. Even if it hasn't yet materialized in the physical world, and the dream often shows it before everything is revealed in waking life. That's why the emotional state you cultivate before sleeping is crucial. If you fall asleep in peace, in gratitude, in inner harmony, you enter sleep vibrating high. And that changes everything. You access clearer, more organized, deeper layers of consciousness. And the dreams that arise there are not confusing or disconnected. They are revealing. Now imagine what could happen if you started doing this every day. A small bedtime ritual that reprograms your vibration, clears mental clutter, and makes room for transformative experiences in the dream field. This is within your reach now. If you feel that your dreams carry messages, signs, or even revelations, and you want to learn to access them with more clarity and intention, the Quantum Thinking Challenge is for you. For 21 days, you will practice simple but powerful gratitude activities before going to sleep. This will raise your vibration, align your mind with the energy field, and open pathways for more lucid, healing, and conscious dreams. Many people are already experiencing profound changes just by shifting this small nighttime ritual. And now, it's your turn. The link is in the first pinned comment. In dreams, everything happens with a speed that defies the logic of waking life. You think, and it is done. You desire, and it appears. You feel fear, and something transforms instantly. While awake, we live under layers upon layers of limitations, beliefs, judgments, chronological time, linear logic. This slows down the creative process. We think of something, but it takes time to manifest. In dreams, it doesn't. The gap between intention and manifestation disappears. The mind creates, and the scene responds. You think of a place, and it appears. Imagine a person, and they show up. What governs this reality is the frequency of your consciousness, and it responds instantly to your emotional state. This is the clear portrait of quantum consciousness in action. It doesn't require time, matter, or physical effort. Just focus, intention, and vibration. And this shows something powerful. You are the creator of reality, even if you don't remember it when you wake up. Many of the most striking dreams we have are those in which we realize this power. Lucid dreams, for example, where we become aware that we're dreaming, and from that point begin to create intentionally. But this doesn't happen only in lucid dreams. Even when we are not fully conscious during the dream, this mechanism is still operating. The difference is that instead of creating consciously, we react to the emotional content that is most active within us. Everything you experience in a dream was created by you. Every detail, every character, every symbol. Quantum consciousness acts there without breaks, free, direct, instantaneous. And the most transformative thing is understanding that this ability doesn't disappear when you wake up. It's just covered by the noise of the rational mind. You are constantly creating your reality. The difference is that in dreams, you see it happening in real time, and that is training, a reminder, an activation of your creative power. The more you develop this awareness during sleep, the more it reflects in your waking life. You begin to notice patterns, feel the effects of your emotions, recognize the influence of your thoughts on events. The world stops seeming random and starts showing that it is directly responding to what you emit. What you dream, you create. Dreams are messages. They're not just reflections of your routine, they are codes, direct symbolic or emotional sent by a greater intelligence, your expanded consciousness, the universe, or whatever you choose to call source. You don't dream what you dream by chance. Repeating dreams, strange encounters, symbols that appear out of nowhere, all of that has a purpose. It's trying to show you something, and the more you ignore it, the more the content intensifies. The universe doesn't give you dreams just because. It gives them because there is something you need to see, understand, or change. Sometimes the message is clear, a warning, a decision, a sign that you're on the wrong path. Other times it comes in the form of a metaphor because your rational mind isn't ready to face it head on. And no, it's not all just in your head. It's a response to your vibration. You dream in resonance with your inner state. If you're lost, confusion comes. If you're aligning, clarity comes. If you're awake enough, instruction comes. Some people receive solutions to problems in their dreams. Others reconnect with people who have passed. Some receive fully formed ideas, obvious decisions, guidance that completely changes the direction of their lives. This happens because the dream accesses a plane where information is not limited by ego or fear. Those who pay attention move forward faster. Those who write down their dreams connect the dots more easily. Those who practice the habit of preparing for sleep with intention begin to dream with more lucidity, more depth, and more direction. Want to understand your dreams? Stop ignoring them. Because the more you ignore them, the more you waste direct access to information that can change your life. Most of what you consider real is filtered through your five senses, limited by logic, shaped by routine, belief, and conditioning. But that is not the whole reality. It's just one layer. Dreams make this clear. Consciousness doesn't depend on the body. It's not bound by time. And it's definitely not limited to what you can touch. Dreams lay this bare. In a few hours of sleep, you experience parallel realities, connect with other minds, access information that hasn't even reached the physical plane yet, and most importantly, you feel it's real because it is real. It just doesn't happen here. The waking world teaches us to doubt the invisible. But the dream experience proves, night after night, that there is much more going on than what the eyes can see. Not everything that is real happens on this plane.